The last week and a half, I have been in complete survival mode. My husband had to stay late at work a few times this week unexpectedly. I just spent way too much time on my phone. My son's 5th birthday was this past week, and I had to plan his birthday party and get everything ready for that. On top of it, we just had our normal daily life activities going on, and I felt alone. Intrusive thoughts started to creep in, and my house reflected it. Come along with me while I try to restore the peace in my house and just reestablish discipline. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Nissa and I make videos about motherhood and homemaking. Okay, so for me personally, I like to start in my living room because I live in a twin house. It's slim. When you first walk into my house, you're walking right into my living room. I love to start on the couch because I feel like that is the biggest item in this room. It is the first thing you see, so let's make her pretty. Alright, so I hope that wasn't too cringy for you because I'm still very uncomfortable with talking to the camera. But the first thing that I am doing is just taking all the pillows and blankets off of the couch because my kids also had a little too much screen time this week and I let them do a lot of snacking on the couch, so it is covered in crumbs, so I want to go ahead and vacuum it. When in a state of survival mode, it is so important to identify what has caused this feeling. Honestly, for me, this has been creeping in probably since the holidays. Christmas was just so overwhelming, and then jumping into the new year and not really feeling in the mood to start any resolutions, but really just in the mood to rest. While rest is important and so healing, I found myself overindulging in it by sleeping in and pushing off my time with the Lord and reading my Bible. I started to fall off from all of my other habits too because the first thing in the morning, I am often rushing to get my kids fed and meet their needs, and when my needs aren't met, then I feel cranky and angry and I suffer from guilt. And those intrusive thoughts just creep in, telling me that I'm a failure and that I'm not good enough. And when I'm believing those lies, it is so much easier for me to spiral when my plate feels a little bit fuller or inconveniences come along. It also doesn't help that it's winter right now and we just had this huge snowstorm and we haven't been spending as much time outside. So something I do is I actually keep one of these baskets completely empty and I go around the first floor and I'll gather up my kids' toys and then I'll set it on the steps for them. And it's their job to take it upstairs and put it away. But I often will help like gather the toys that are on the floor downstairs just because I feel like I don't have the patience to wait for them to pick them all up sometimes, especially when they're out of the house like this. Like, I just want to get everything picked up, but it's still not my job to take care of their toys, so they have to put them away themselves. I know that was really unrelated to what I was just talking about, but I really wanted to explain my basket system in case you were wondering what I was doing here. To be honest, I wouldn't really consider myself much of a motivational speaker. I'm definitely one of those types of people who, if I see someone hurting, I will come alongside of you and like cry with you and just hurt along with you. I rarely ever have encouraging things to say or the right things to say, it feels like. And if you get anything out of this video, I hope it's that I see you and I feel for you. You're not alone. I struggle so much, even though the internet may be very deceptive and it may look like I have my life together. A lot of the times I am battling my own demons and constantly seeking the Lord for help. I just want to share what I have found to be really encouraging and helpful in my own experiences, and that is prioritizing being disciplined and reading my Bible every single morning. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you may have noticed that around my kitchen I keep a lot of index cards with Bible verses written on them, and one Bible verse that I wrote down says, "Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of time because the days are evil." This is Ephesians 5:15, and the part where it says making the best use of time because the days are evil just has always stood out to me because I do feel like time just gets taken away from me so easily nowadays, and it's my own fault sometimes, especially with social media and being on my phone. I can find that I will open up an app and I tell myself I'm just gonna like sit here for a couple of minutes and decompress and then move back on to what it is I'm gonna do, and next thing I know, it's like 40 minutes later. I often will feel angry and irritated after. My patience is completely gone. I am overstimulated, and then I have to jump back into my daily life of being present for 3 children that honestly are a little overstimulating in themselves. Again, that's just why I love this verse so much, because it says, look carefully how you walk. And sometimes I feel like I am not looking carefully at the decisions that I'm making throughout the day. And I feel like that is when I am giving the opportunity to the devil, and I am not guarding myself or guarding my family or guarding my time in the day. If you are in survival mode right now, the one thing that I feel like I can offer you is the encouragement to be disciplined with reading the Bible and seeking God yourself. Hebrews 12:11 says, "For the moment all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." As a child, I used to only associate discipline with being punished. But now I realize discipline is much more than that. When I have discipline, that is when fruit is produced. If I had a garden and I didn't take care of it, then it would overgrow and I wouldn't be able to reap the benefit of all the fruit. So it's important that when we have a garden, we take care of it. That way we can get as much yield out of it as possible. The same thing really applies in life and day to day, especially in motherhood. The more disciplined I am and the more willing I am to put into it, the more I will get out of it. When having little kids, sometimes that involves having a lot of faith and patience, hoping that one day we will reap the reward of all the diligence that we did putting into them when they were so young. But I have heard amazing stories from some mothers how they would challenge their kids at home and see them behave so kindly with kids outside of their home. I've even seen with my own son, because we are an ingredient family, he will ask me in the grocery store, "Mama, can you please read the ingredients on this to see if we can get it?" Or he'll come up to me if we're at a party and ask if he can eat something, and he always waits for my yes or for my no. We were actually going through Dunkin' Donuts the other day, which I never do, but we were out of coffee and I needed a coffee very badly. And I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't very good. But while we were in the drive-thru, my son asked me, "Mama, can we get anything? Is there anything here for us to eat?" And I said, "No, I'm sorry, nothing here is gluten-free." And he was like, "Okay, why don't they have anything that's gluten-free?" And I didn't really know what to tell him. I was kind of just like, some places don't have gluten-free options. But I was so thankful that he always asks and he is always okay with my answer. And personally, I'm not too sure like what it is that I did to deserve his trust, but I'm so grateful that I have it. But anyway, I digress. Another tip I would love to offer if you are in survival mode right now is to take a picture of your room, of your space, whatever it is that is overwhelming you, and send it to a friend. Sometimes things that can seem so big and overwhelming to us are really not. And I'm not trying to belittle anyone's feelings or emotions towards things. I have just found it very helpful for myself to sometimes have an outside perspective. I doubt that anyone has a friend that if you sent a picture of your living room to, they would be like, "Wow, you're disgusting." No, they would probably say, "You know what, like my living room looks like that too," or "I've been there, I get it, like I don't understand why it can never stay like put," whatever it is. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to remind you that you're not alone. Someone else is going through the same exact thing that you're going through, and that is that life is hard and it's overwhelming. And if you're a mom, it means that all toddlers are messy, not just your toddlers. All toddlers are messy. Alrighty, now let's put all this heavy mumbo jumbo behind us and move forward. I am going to just jump back into this being your regular programmed cleaning video. So I hope that everyone is okay with that and that you can just take a minute to relax and soak in the nonsense that I am saying. I honestly am feeling a little delirious right now. It is 9:30 in the evening and I have been working on this video since about 2 o'clock, finishing filming it because it did take me 2 days to film. And then I jumped right into editing and doing the voiceover, and I had to make dinner for my family. So yeah, I am tired and I'm now thinking about all the laundry that I did not fold in this video that I still have to fold. I have about 5 baskets to do and my whole hamper is dirty right now and I need to wash my own laundry. You're probably gonna catch on to that real quick in this video because I'm wearing the same pair of pants 2 days in a row. But anyway, I love this vacuum cleaner. It is a Shark and I just am obsessed with it. I wish I could offer you more information. I wish I could put a link down below, but I am not monetized. And when you are not monetized on YouTube, you cannot put links to products in your videos, which is so disappointing because I have had you guys ask me before about products that I've been using and if I can offer a link. And YouTube has restrictions over that. So hopefully you watch this video to the end and my watch hours grow and I can eventually get monetized because that would be such a blessing. Oh, I did want to mention real quickly too why I left the balloons on the ceiling. My kids are not done playing with them, so I do not have permission to throw them out yet, which is why you're gonna just continue to see them floating on my ceiling. But look at this bendy arm on this vacuum. Isn't that so cool? I don't have to like get on my hands and knees to try and get under things. It's so nice. Also, so much snow and salt has been getting tracked into the house. So that's why we have a second rug down right now. This is like one of our extra bath mats. And I'm taking that and our front door mat outside and shaking them out. It just is so like grimy out, I feel like, with all the salt on the sidewalk. I'm surprised you can't see any snow out my front door, but there is a ton of snow still outside. It honestly was so disappointing for my kids because it was like this beautiful snow at first and then the next day it literally all froze over and they couldn't like play with it anymore. It got so hard on top. They just were like trying to break apart like these giant blocks of snow ice. But anyway, there were some hiding toys behind those ottomans that I had. And now I'm just going ahead and vacuum up all the crummies that were around here. This is my daughter's special chair. I love this chair, and I think she likes it too. I got it from the thrift store, and it does have a crack down the middle of it, which is a shame, but it still supports her very well, so I'm not concerned about it. However, I am so disappointed that I painted it white because it gets so dirty so quickly, and it does wipe off like pretty easily because I did use like a satin paint on it, but I just feel like it always looks so dirty. I hope no one takes this the wrong way, but I am like so thankful for how my dining room has turned out. All of the furniture in here was either free, trash picked, a hand-me-down, or from the thrift store. The pink hutch was a hand-me-down from my aunt, and I painted it. I trash picked this bench. The piano I got for free off Facebook Marketplace. And our dining room table I got for $40 from Habitat for Humanity. The chairs were my husband's cousins that were hand-me-downs to us. And we just painted the dining room furniture and the hutch and made it look brand new. And I'm just like so thankful and feel so blessed for how everything turned out. When we bought this house, I was pregnant with my first son. I was literally 9 months pregnant. We moved in, and 3 days later I had him, and we lived in the front room. That was our bedroom. We used this dining room as our living room and our dining room. We were remodeling our entire upstairs. The whole house needed to be completely gutted. This used to be a rental property before we bought it, and there was just a lot of things that were neglected towards it. So we had to put all new drywall in, all new electrical in, a lot of new plumbing, new floors. It just had to be taken down to the studs, and it really was a shame, but it's just like I look back on it and I am so thankful and just praise God for how he got us through it. I was in school. I had my first child. I was 21 years old. My husband was also 21, and he was an apprentice, and we were not making a lot of money. We were on one income, putting me through college, bought a house, trying to refix it. And it was just like a very intense season of our lives. And I just like still look back at the fact that like our living room was our bedroom. Like, how insane is that? By the way, I just wanted to mention like what I went to school for. I went to school for accounting, and I did taxes for about a year. And we had our first and second son, and I was pregnant with our daughter. I was 6 months pregnant, and my husband was working at a refinery and was told that the refinery was going on a shutdown and that everyone had to go onto 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, and they were going to be working like around the clock, always having like a crew on. And my husband got put on night shift. And if you are familiar with taxes, then there are busy seasons out of the year where there are deadlines due, and accountants have to work like very long hours. So I was expected to work between like 60 to 90 hours a week, and I could not do that while my husband was doing all of his like night work 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. So that's when we decided like it would be best if I just became a stay-at-home mom and he was just the sole provider. And I also wasn't going to get a maternity leave, so there wasn't like a huge incentive on me staying to like be paid for that. And I was going to end up having the baby like right after he got off of his night shift. He was on that schedule for 2.5 months. It was like the most intense season of our lives. Like, if you think us having our living room as a bedroom, me being like literally 8 months pregnant, having 2 toddlers, and your husband on night shift 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, like that was next level crazy. And I feel like none of our friends and family really realized like what we were going through. So we were just trucking along, doing our thing in survival mode. And again, it just like goes to show like the Lord has brought us through so many crazy things. Just when you reflect on your life, I highly encourage, like, if you don't do this, to journal and like write things down just to see like the things that you have gone through in your own life, because I have found that to be so helpful for me sometimes, just to put things in perspective, because I am such a glass half empty type of person. You may not think that, but I am. Like, I am so thankful my husband is not, but I have like a lot of like trauma, and part of it is around like being a cancer survivor, and that just caused me like a great amount of PTSD. I just feel like I have a very hard time, like, I don't know, staying positive, because I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you would think that because like God brought me through that, and he's brought me through so many like very challenging things, that I would have like such a grateful outlook on life. But for whatever reason, like, my mind just has a very hard time like pivoting to that perspective. So that is why I try to like do a lot of reflection and do a lot of journaling. My therapist has actually diagnosed me with complex PTSD because of my cancer experience and some other events that have gone on in my life. So that has been like a very interesting process for me to work through. He told me that about a year ago now. It was about last April or May. So yeah, I have really been just like processing through that and becoming okay with it. It was really hard to like hear at first. It was something I always sort of suspected that I had. But yeah, I don't know. Once you like actually hear it, it kind of just feels like a punch in the gut. And then you have like this peace afterwards, like, okay, like I'm not crazy, like I am actually like struggling with like something. And I read this book too, like when you do have PTSD, like your prefrontal cortex physically goes through a change, and you have a harder time like separating your emotions from what is reality and what isn't. I literally feel like a bunny rabbit all over the place, but I don't know if you noticed, I have new floors. Woo! Yeah, I'm so tired. I am probably sounding really annoying at this point, but I hope not. I'm hoping that a video goes up on me installing these floors in the next week. They're not 100% done, which is why you're getting a sneak peek at them now. I've been working on them for close to 3 weeks now, but it's just like so difficult putting peel and stick floors down when you are living in the space that you're using, and it's a large space, and you have kids and life and stuff going on. I know I might be just making excuses, but because this was going into my kitchen, my back room, and my bathroom, it took me way longer than I had originally anticipated. I thought it would get done in maybe like 2 days, and I've definitely spent at least 4 days on it already. And I have had to work on it with my kids around, which just takes a little bit longer. It has been like a joyful experience, like doing it with them. They've enjoyed it a lot, and I do like doing projects with them, but it just takes much longer. And because this is an old house, our house was built in 1902, so it's over 100 years old. There are so many like odds and ends that are not even, not square, a lot of like difficult cuts to make in these tiles. So yeah, I just kind of had to learn that through trial and error. So I just wiped down my stove with cast-iron soap, and now I'm spraying it with water and vinegar and getting a new rag out just to take the streakiness away off of the top. I know it may not look like streak-free at first, but trust me, if you just keep like drying this down and going over it, all the streaks will go away. I try to clean and cook with as many non-toxic options as possible. So we do all of our cleaning with cast-iron soap and vinegar. We do all our cooking on stainless steel. We use all wood cutting boards, wood utensils. I just try my best to avoid plastics and forever chemicals as much as possible. There are so many studies out there now showing that plastics can increase your exposure to estrogen and disrupt your hormones and your fertility. And that is something that I just try to be very cautious of, since I have experienced autoimmune issues like the cancer, and my son is very sensitive to gluten. I now have a ton of allergies and I can't eat wheat. So I just try to minimize our exposure to harmful chemicals as much as I can. In today's world, it almost seems impossible sometimes to avoid everything. You really can't, especially with our environment now and our food industry. But that is where you just have to put your faith into God's hands and trust Him. Alright friends, well if you made it this far, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. It means so much. I hope that you consider liking and subscribing, and I hope that you found some encouragement here. Alright, God bless.